Protests in Olympia shattered windows and left business owners today cleaning up and totaling up the damage left from what police called a May Day riot. Several police officers were hurt and at least 9 protesters were arrested by the time it was all over. It was one of the most destructive May Days in Olympia in years. KIRO 7's Jeff Du Bois is live in Olympia for us this afternoon, and some of the demonstrators who caused the damage, Jeff, are expected to be in court this afternoon.
Michelle, they were booked last night into jail for investigation of felony rioting. I'm on Capitol Avenue, just along Legion Way, in the heart of downtown Olympia, where these demonstrators did a number on businesses. This is a Starbucks that they hit, smashed out 5 big windows, 2 on the other side, and they were walking this way down the street, down the sidewalk, and hit several storefronts, doing thousands of dollars in damage. Carrie Murphy was greeted with a mess this morning at the Goodwill boutique store she manages in downtown Olympia. 2 of her employees were in the store when demonstrators turned violent Monday night.
They were in the back and heard the crash and came running out. And they didn't find any rocks or bricks or anything on the floor, so they figure it must have been done maybe with like a baseball bat.
We saw a handful of demonstrators with sticks smashing windows. They hit a U.S. bank, an Olympia Federal Savings, and a Starbucks store. Banks and big corporations are not uncommon targets for demonstrators like this, but at Goodwill,
it costs people money. And
not just the damage to the windows.
Not just the damage, but just in business in general.
Doesn't make sense. None of it makes sense, but especially Goodwill. They're trying to help people.
Some of those people they helped got into the fray last night. At one point, a group of people who live on the streets of Olympia started throwing rocks at the demonstrators who had been lighting fireworks and antagonizing the onlookers.
Well, it's their home. They didn't want it being messed up too, I guess.
When the confrontation escalated, police got serious about getting the demonstrators off the streets, firing rubber bullets and flash grenades. Eventually, 9 people were caught and taken into custody. Olympia police found several items that may have been used as weapons: a slingshot, a wooden stick with some kind of edge, and a purse with rocks and soda cans inside. We're told several Olympia police officers were actually hit by marbles or rocks flung from that slingshot. The suspects, they're supposed to be in court at 3:30 this afternoon. And KIRO 7's Kevin McCarty, who was in the middle of the mayhem down here last night, he's going to be in court as well. Watch for his story tonight at 5 o'clock. Reporting live in Olympia this noon, Jeff Du Bois, KIRO 7 News.
All right, thank you, Jeff. Seattle's protest was much tamer this year, but police still arrested 5 people.
We want to be correct, not politically correct.
Police had to jump in between hundreds of pro-Trump and anti-Trump protesters who showed up at Westlake. We saw police arrest one man in black for throwing rocks at the pro-Trump supporter. Some protesters from both camps got along just fine. A few pro and anti-Trump supporters even rolled joints together on the back of this sign. Earlier in the day, thousands of people took to the streets for the immigration march. Organizers kept their promise, and the march did not disrupt traffic on the freeway. Now in Portland, anarchists turned a permitted May Day march into a riot. You can see the video of the protest where the people were throwing rocks and Molotov cocktails at police. And these are the faces of the 25 people who were arrested by Portland police. Now they're asking people with photos of criminal acts to send them into investigators.
Shut down. Okay, there's a couple of more flashbangs. There's some pieces of that flashbang flying in the street here. Quite a few people now on the ground being detained, zip-tied.
Now, the march started peaceful and organizers had a permit, but police announced over a loudspeaker that the permit was revoked, and some demonstrators turned violent. They threw traffic cones in the street to set on fire and bashed in a police car. You see that here, slashing its tires and throwing a flare right in it. Police say most of the arrests were for disorderly conduct, but some were for rioting. Our coverage continues.